Well, I wasn't expecting a huge amount from the game against Manchester United in the Carabao Cup, and there are many reasons why I felt like that. One is because of the injuries that we've got at the moment. I knew that Roy was going to be putting out a team that wasn't going to be our first choice team. I knew it was going to be one of those things where he would have to experiment a little bit and try and do what he could. Also, the fact that he said he wasn't going to be able to put out a very good team because of injuries and because of the squad depth. So I could see from that point of view, from where he was talking, that this wasn't going to be his priority. And of course, in the situation we're in at the moment with so many injuries and such a small squad, he's going to want to concentrate his efforts on the Premier League rather than the Cups. However, I felt that the actual game itself was a bit disappointing. I think it was. There were sparkles very, very rarely spread throughout the game. Most of the time we were up against it and we were battling to stay in the game. And there were a couple of things which I was a bit disappointed about, which I'm going to go into in a moment. But first of all, I'm going to give you the lineup. It was Dean Henderson. His debut for us in goal. Then we had Klein, Holding, Richards and Mitchell, so obviously no Gahey, no Anderson, no Ward in there either. So we had Raksaki, Riedwald, Doucouré and Ayew, and also Schlupp in a kind of a middle inverted V thing, and then Mateta up front. So on paper you would think to yourself, not necessarily a bad team. I mean, you got Mateta in there, who he's been okay. Obviously, he's not been as prolific as Edouard has, but Edouard's got an injury. You've got Doucouré, Riedewald, Raksaki and Ayew in there in the middle, and you think, well, Raksaki has been, playing well lately. He's been doing good. He's been developing himself, so hopefully that would work. Obviously, the first time we've seen Rob Holding in a Palace shirt, so that would be something that we would need to look at. And also the fact that Nathaniel Klein has come back after quite a long time out, so how would he play in the game as well? So it was a bit of an uncertainty, and of course it was even more uncertain after just, I think, about 10 minutes or so, 10 or 20 minutes of the game gone, when Dean Henderson unfortunately got himself a muscle injury in his leg. It was just when he was kicking the ball, suffered some kind of muscle injury. Roy has said that it is a muscle injury, but they can't tell at the moment what it is, for certain what muscle it is and how serious it is. He's got to go for a scan. They're not sure when the scan's going to be, probably on Monday, I would say now. And so he's going to have the scan to find out the extent of the damage, and of course how long it might take to heal. So that's a bit of a blow. Obviously Sam Johnson came in for him and really had a pretty good game. I mean, again, he was making some really good saves. Unfortunately for us, from the very beginning, I think we were a little bit under the cosh. We were being pegged back by quite a well organised Man United team, I have to say. They were pinging the ball around quite well. And I was a little bit disappointed in Raksaki. I thought that he tried hard, but it wasn't really his type of game. I think that with the team that we had around him, he wasn't necessarily getting the support that he would have needed. You've got Riedwald in there, who plays a decent game. I think he played okay, but Raksaki down there on the right hand side, I think, was a little bit, still a little bit naive in some ways, and I think he probably needed another season in the Championship to grow his confidence and grow a bit more experience before he took on this game. But anyway, it was good to see him in there, and obviously, hopefully he will get more game time in the future. But it was a bit disappointing to see him struggling a little bit at times. I think that he's got the talent to do it. I think it's just a case of confidence and just having that support around him as well. Klein was okay. I mean, he did get he did get taken on a couple of occasions, but overall he wasn't too bad. The disappointing thing for me was Ayew down on the left hand side. I felt that he didn't support Mitchell very much, especially when the ball was in our third, and that's basically where both of their first two goals came from. It came from down that right hand side, and it was mainly because Ayew wasn't tracking back. The first goal, there was a player unmarked that Ayew should have been tracking. Second was pretty similar, that a man was unmarked that Ayew should have probably been tracking. So it could have been that he was told not necessarily to track back that much, to give an option if we get the ball, an option to play the ball out. I don't know, but it just looked like he should have been tracking back a little bit more than he was and picking up players. Anyway, that's kind of how it went for most of the game. First and second half, we were pretty much behind it. We let those 2 goals in quite early, 20 odd minutes. Maybe because Sam Johnson wasn't completely warmed up, he wasn't completely prepared. He'd come in, and but then after that, we seemed to shore up a little bit, and we were still fighting hard to to keep the ball out of our third. But for most of the time, it was all Manchester United, and the second half was pretty much the same. And that's when the third goal came in the second half in about 50 minutes. So it was a very difficult situation for us. I think it was always going to be a hard game, I think, against Manchester United. I don't necessarily think the next game in the Premier League against them, which is about a couple of days' time, I don't think that's going to be the same. I think when later on in the game, when we brought on Will Hughes I think had a really good game. I think when he came on, he was tenacious and he was working really hard. Eze came on, Gahey came on, and Ozo came on, which is great to see him as well. He was a really big presence in there, and he was really trying to get involved in the game. It was great to see him playing. And when they came on, we looked like a slightly different team. We were playing a bit more. We were, taking the ball a bit more to Manchester United in that later part of the second half. So, you can see that with the first team, we could probably do more damage to Man United than we did with the team that started. But that's how it goes. And I'm not necessarily disappointed that we lost, because I think the Carabao Cup, it's great to have a cup run, but at the end of the day, we need to concentrate on keeping our players fit for the Premier League. So disappointing, yes, but not the end of the world. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Do you think that Raksaki had a good game? Do you think that maybe he should have another season in the Championship to give himself a bit more confidence? Let me know what you think about everything that happened in the game, and as always, don't forget to subscribe for more Palace news.